Prayers for deliverance. 10 signs that you need deliverance. In John chapter 8, verses 31 through 36, Jesus talked to the Jews who followed him, believed in him, and he said, if you abide in my word, and I'm paraphrasing, you'll be my disciples, you'll know the truth will set you free. And of course they answered him and said, we're Abraham's descendants, we've never been in bondage to anyone. How can you say you will make us free? Even though they've been in bondage to Egyptians, Babylonians, any nation you can think of, they've been in bondage. The first sign, or the first thing that you must recognize before you experience deliverance or freedom, is that you're in bondage. And for a lot of people, that is a 50% of the victory, when you actually recognize that this is not normal, that you need to be freed or delivered, that I have this demonic activity in my life and I have other content or videos that deal with can Christians have demons. That is not what we're going to focus on in this piece of content. I'm going to go through a few practical signs that you can examine and diagnose yourself today. And then we're going to be praying at the end for the Lord to search our heart and for the Lord to expose anything that's not of Him so that you can receive your freedom. The first sign that you need deliverance is your sleep. If you have attacks in your sleep paralysis, nightmares, evil presence during the sleep, constantly eating in the dream, seeing dead people in the dream, having snakes in the dream, animals appearing in the dream, being chased in the dream, falling in the dream, or dying in the dream, that could be a sign that you are in need of deliverance. Matthew 13:25, it says, while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. That's the first sign. Second sign that you need deliverance are in your thoughts. It's when you have intrusive thoughts and voices in your head. Intrusive thoughts, tormenting thoughts, blasphemy thoughts, pushy thoughts, compelling thoughts, suicidal thoughts, and fear. Voices that are heard in the mind that mock, intimidate, accuse, threaten, and attempt to bargain with you. They speak like in the third person. John chapter 13 verse 3, it says that after supper ended, devil have already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. The devil works a lot of times through the battlefield of our mind. Number 3 sign that you need deliverance is actually in your emotions. It's when you have controlling, negative, toxic emotions. Depression, anxiety, heaviness, rejection, resentment, unforgiveness, disappointment, loneliness, misery, self-destruction, or suicide. It says in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear. That means fear is a spirit. Isaiah 61:3, it says that to console those who mourn in Zion, give beauty for ashes, oil of joy for mourning, garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. There are demonic spirits that affect people's emotions. The sign number 4 that you need deliverance is in your desires. It's when you have an intense desire and craving for defiled things. Now, all Christians have the flesh. This is different. There's an intense craving and desire for defiled things like drugs, alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, painkillers, weed, gambling, strange addictions. Sometimes people wanting to eat ice non-stop, or sand, or I've seen people who needed deliverance who eat human feces. Bizarre, weird things. And you would say, how could a human want those things? It's not a human. It's a demon that wants that. It wants defiled things. Romans 8:15, it says that we have not received the spirit of bondage. So this spirit, it wants particular diet. The spirit of bondage wants a particular type of food. And this food is defilement and things that are contrary to human nature and God's will. Sign number 5 that you are in need of deliverance, and that's actually found in your mouth. It's when you cannot tame your tongue. When the Spirit of God fills a person, they speak in tongues. They can prophesy. They can speak encouragement. But when a demon fills a person, they have chronic lying, cursing, gossip, or even blasphemy. Acts chapter 5 verse 3, it says, Peter said to Ananias, he says, why has Satan filled your heart to lie. And that could be a sign that you need deliverance. If your mouth needs cleansing. Number 6 sign is in your sex life. It's when you have a sexual perversion or spirit spouse. Porn, fornication, adultery, homosexuality, lesbianism, sexual fantasies, prostitution, and spirit spouse, meaning when something like incubus or succubus that shows up and sleeps with you during the night. In Hosea 5:4, it says that they do not direct their deeds toward God, for the spirit of harlotry, one translation says spirit of whoredom, is in their midst, and they do not know God. And maybe you feel like there's this intense desire for sexual perversion. These thoughts that are not yours, they're foreign. And you need deliverance. You need help. And we're here to help. The 7th sign is in your health or in your body. It's when there are chronic diseases and sicknesses like epilepsy, stress, migraine headaches, allergies, crippling arthritis, sleep problems, insomnia, and other diseases that are chronic, and a lot of times they are the ones that are generational. Luke chapter 13 verse 11, it says that the woman had the spirit of infirmity. The devil likes to harass our health by depositing his evil and works into our own body, called sickness and disease. Number 8 sign is in our behavior. It's when the person has compulsive behavior, extreme obsessive behavior, impulsive behavior, sudden surges of violent rage, uncontrollable anger, and these feelings of hostility. Sometimes it's compulsion to hurt yourself. For Samuel 16:14, it says that the Spirit of the Lord departed Saul, and a distressing spirit from the Lord troubled him. We see in Mark chapter 2 when that man who had a legion of demons, he was hurting himself. A lot of times when we would minister to people who have demons or who are demonized, and they would say like, something took over me, something controlled me, something that it was not me, like I was out of control. You know why? Because something else was in control. Some other entity exercised control at that point, and that entity needs to be removed. But before we remove that, before we deal with it, we must know, and we must diagnose ourselves, and we must take ourselves through the scanner of the truth to receive freedom, because recognizing that you have need for deliverance is already 50% of that battle. Number 9 is spiritual problems. It's when you have extreme restlessness in spiritual environment or hostility toward the ministry of deliverance. Tremendous hostility or fear when encountering someone who is involved in deliverance work is a sign you might need deliverance. Extreme restlessness, constant yawning, constant tiredness in a spiritual environment while you are totally not tired. When you switch the environments or locations, could be a sign you need to be freed. In Mark chapter 1 verse 23 and 24, it says, when Jesus entered into the synagogue, this man started acting very weird, like it wasn't normal, because the presence of God provokes, and demons manifest, and sometimes the way they manifest is they shut down person's faculties, mental faculties, that a person cannot focus anymore, or a person produces this hostility toward minister who is ministering in the area of deliverance. And sign number 10 is generational. These are reoccurring problems of your parents that are repeating in your life. That could be a sign that there's a demon that is roaming around in your family tree, and that you are not actually fighting a demon that you have opened the door for, but a demon that somebody else have opened the door for, and you inherited that demon. You think it's possible? Yes, it is. In Exodus chapter 20 verse 5, it says, you shall not bow down to them, so other gods, and serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me. You may say, well, I'm under the new covenant. The principle applies still. It's a treason against God to be involved in occult and witchcraft. And if your ancestors participated in that, a lot of times it will surface in your own life that these demons, these curses and demons will cause, for example, some of the things to look for if you're trying to examine if there are generational demons or curses. If there's a chronic diseases that are running in your family, if there is mental attacks or mental illness, kind of like phobias and constant problem with mental health, a breakdown of the family union through divorce, adultery, premature deaths in the family, constant poverty, repeated accidents, or barrenness. If you notice these things, a lot of times it's a sign you need to be freed. You need to be delivered. The goal of mine is not to convince you that you have a demon, but is to prepare you to begin to receive that freedom.